smoking affecting teenagers? As you might know, smoking has a lot of impact and influence on teenagers. We are Lucas, Tim, Jared, and Brian, and today we're going to find out how much smoking has been affecting teenagers recently. Nowadays, more and more teenagers started smoking, and what's the reason behind this practice that only seems to cause physical harm and health problems? Today we're going to find out why a lot of senior high schoolers have started smoking and the initial motive and such. Moreover, we are going to go in depth to discuss how smoking affects a teenager mentally, how non-smokers portray them as, and lastly, talk about some helpful tips to replace this harmful habit. Our motivation and purpose behind this project is that teenagers smoking is getting more and more common among the society. Despite school regulations and propagandas, it is practically impossible to ban this practice, and there are still many friends, classmates, and even families around us that uses cigarettes or vapes occasionally or oftenly. So we would like to discuss the pros and cons of smoking and vaping as a way to lower the use of e-cigarettes and traditional cigarettes. And we're also going to provide ways to quit smoking. As senior high schoolers ourselves, it is really easy for us to encounter people that have the habit of smoking, and thus our main goal is to research subjects that are at the age of a senior high school student, and mainly in Taichung. We approached them via Google Forms and got some interesting results and analysis. Now, Lucas will talk more about it.
Before we get to our main topic, I want to talk about our research process and stages. What we did first was look through news and reports online about how smoking is affecting teenagers online, and as well as some thesis done by others. And based on the information we have gathered, we figure out our main direction and made the Google form, and we tried spreading as much as possible, and we tried posting on social media and emailing. Eventually we got 117 responses. After that, we analyzed the responses carefully, and lastly but most importantly, we concluded our research and started working on the script you're hearing right now and the slides you're seeing right now. So let's get to our topic. So, why is smoking so popular and influential among teens our age? And what's their motive behind smoking? Was the initial question we had. So we made 3 assumptions. The first assumption were one, if your friends around you use cigarette, you're likely to use it. And second is, smoking is a way to reduce stress and as a temporary escape from reality, and thus eventually becomes an addiction. And the third and last assumption is that they might think smoking is cool or also something to be bragged about, and thus trying and getting into the habit of smoking. And the potential cause of some such habits may result in relying on nicotine and as a way to escape from reality for a moment, and also numb them themselves. And Why will they want to start smoking? We asked in our survey. Whether or not they know someone around them, families or friends that smoke, and about a whopping 78.9% of respondents have someone around them who smoke. So that simply shows how common cigarettes are and how simply cigarettes are accessible to teens, senior high school students in particular. Let's move on to Brian.
And further contribute to the next problem, which is why the respondent themselves would want to try smoking. The response we got include getting in a circle of friends that smoke habits. To escape reality, lose weight, and most important, reduce the stress. And the concept of escaping reality and reducing stress using cigarettes and are actually quite similar. Both of them make you feel numb about your life issue. In the senior high era, possibly relationship issue and low grades. Furthermore, the survey results shows that it makes an individual 100% more stable mentally. It shows that the addiction of cigarettes at a young age might be because of relying on them as a method to feel more comfortable and relaxed. And now that we know the reasons, it's time to think further about the consequence of the practices. The initial motivate for over 60% people is to be relaxed and feel numb about your real life issue. Always seeking for this method to blow yourself from the truth will only make the problem worse. Eventually, not only are the physical addicted to not nicotine, but also you are heavily relying on not actually getting the problem solved, but not to look at it. 50% of the people answered our survey look the effect smoking gives it beyond their expectations. Smoking did get them into new circles, new friends, and feel more relaxed. And let's move on to Tim.
Now let's talk about the flaws. One of the main reasons for smoking is to relieve stress. When they encounter frustration, they tend to rely on it and eventually lead to addiction. In addiction, after smoking, their emotions can vary a lot and likely when their anger on others. Another thing is to get into circles. It's easier to get ostracized in a community where people commonly smoke but you don't. However, smoking can also cause negative impression towards the group of people that don't, even if they are aware of its purpose. They may feel disturbed or induce allergic reaction, or even associate it with bad things. Although the use of cigarettes is not a good habit, there are a couple solutions to the issue. First is that they have things in their mouths, so cigarette can be replaced with bubble gums or toothpicks. Second is to reduce stress, since exercise can release the same chemical as smoking, which is called endorphins. Exercise can replace the habit of smoking. Better still, exercise can strengthen muscles and build stronger immune system, which adds extra benefit on top. The previous point mentioned some of our speech. Thank you for listening.